Okay, we are on week 3 of 24, from January to June, the road to exams. And I've deliberately put in this question because it's kind of got a couple of bits in it that are quite sort of forgettable. So hopefully it'll be a good bit of a refresher for you. So let's see if we can identify what's going on in this question. It says that Jill buys bags of logs to use in her stove. The lengths, L centimetres, of the 88 logs in the bag are summarised in the table below. I've just put it over here to the right hand side. A histogram is drawn to represent these data. The bar representing the logs with length 27 to 30. Let me just highlight this from the table. So this bar is going to have a width of 1.5 and a height of 4. We're talking about the 27 to 30 bar that we've got here. We're going to try and calculate the width and height of the bar representing the log length of 20 to 25. So we're going to try and do this one afterwards. Now, if you remember the key facts that we have for the histogram, obviously the width of it is going to correspond to how wide these groups here are. And then overall the area is going to be proportional to the frequency. I'll probably do some of this actually starting at the top of this page here. It kind of makes sense for me. So the 27 to 30 is a bar which is 1.5 wide, and for some reason I do always like to draw this, and 4 tall. So it's a 1.5 centimetres and 4 centimetres. So the area is 1.5 times 4, which is 6 centimetres squared. So we can deal with that part really easily, because if we're going to say that the area multiplied by some scale factor is the frequency. By the way, that K could be on the right hand side. It doesn't really matter where you put it. So we know that the area is 6, and when it gets multiplied by the scale factor, it gives us the frequency of 15. Okay, looking in the table, that yellow highlighted frequency is 15. Meaning that the scale factor that you multiply the area by to get the frequency is 15 divided by 6, which is 2.5. So that's going to be useful in just a second. And also we can see that this group is representing from 27 to 30. So our gap is 3 centimetres in this. So the 3 centimetres for the log is being represented by 1.5 centimetres. So one gap in this thing that we have here would be represented by 0.5 centimetres. So the one that we're looking at is this green one, the 20 to 25, meaning it is going to be 5 wide. 20 to 25 is a gap of 5, so that means the base is going to be 2.5 centimetres. So if I was going to just draw this here, we're going to get that the base is 2.5 centimetres. Now, what area do we need to use? Well, we want the frequency to be 35, and we know that K is 2.5. So we know that the area equals K times frequency. So the area is the thing I'm looking for. Times it by K has got to be equal to the frequency of 35. 35 divided by 2.5 is 14. So this means that the area has got to be 14. Okay, so if the area has got to be 14 centimetres squared, I would do 14 divided by 2.5, and we get 5.6 centimetres for the height. So I've kind of squeezed this in a little bit too much here, but I can say that the width is 2.5 centimetres, and the height is 5.6 centimetres. The width was in proportion to the size of the gap that we had between 20 and 25, and the height made it have an area of 14, which had the same proportional relationship that the yellow group did between the area of 6 and the frequency of 15. I find these questions kind of fiddly, but I always like drawing a little diagram with it to see if it helps me make any sense of this. And it now says use linear interpolation to estimate the median of L. Well, there are 88 logs here, so the median is going to be the 44th. You don't have to worry, as soon as it's in the table, just do half for the median. They do accept it if you add one on and half it, but honestly for EdXL, just half the 88 to find the median position. So we do need to find the cumulative frequency for this. So it's going to go 19. If I do the 19 plus 35, it goes up to 54. So actually that tells me that the 44th one must be inside this group here. There's not much point in continuing with these cumulative frequency, but if you did want to, this would be a 70, an 85, and an 88, but it's really not necessary. So the median is going to be inside that group. Now that group, when I draw this, it is going from the 19th to the 54th. And we're looking for the 44th, which is going to be somewhere closer on this side, okay? And that group that we're discussing, the one that's highlighted in green, is between 20 and 25. So this is 20 down here and 25. I'm essentially trying to find out what is that value. That is the median where that question mark is. Well, it's going to be 20. It's going to be this base value plus some fraction of this gap that we've got here. So I want to find out what fraction of this gap of 5 we're going to add on. So we're going to add on some fraction of that 5 gap. Now the fraction, we're going to look at the bottom part. The gap between the 19 and 44, 44 take away 19, is 25. And the total gap between the 19 and the 54, 54 take away 19 is 35. So that we have on the denominator is 35. We're saying this relationship, 25 out of 35, I want to go that fraction of the distance of this gap, which is 5 along the top. So 25 out of 35, times that by 5, add on 20, and we should get that the median is, I got 165 over 7, but to be honest, I'm going to round the 165 over 7. I'm going to do it to 3 significant figures, so that's a 23.6, and it is centimetres for this, and I've said that that is to 3 significant figures for this one, okay? It then says the maximum length of log that Jill can use in her stove is 26 centimetres. Jill estimates using linear interpolation again, that X logs from the bag will fit into her stove. Show that X is equal to 62. So it has to be 26 or less. Well, that means there's definitely going to be the 19. There's definitely going to be the 35, and actually it's a really easy linear interpolation. If this is going from 25 to 27, and only 26, things that are 26 or lower will fit in, well, it's just going to be half of this group. If this goes from 25 to 27, 26 is in the middle, so it's going to be half of this. So it's a 19 plus a 35 plus a half of the 16. So for part C of the question, that was B, right? For part C, X will be the 19, the 35 plus a half of that 16 group. So it's 19 plus 35 plus 8, and we do get that X is 62, and that's definitely enough information for us to show this. And then for part D of the question, it says that Jill randomly selects 4 logs from the bag. Using X equals 62, find the probability that all 4 logs will fit into her stove. You've got to think really carefully about what happens with this. We are saying that there are 62 out of 88 that will fit into the stove. So the first one is really easy. The probability that the first one is just going to fit would be 62 out of the 88. Now think carefully for what happens with the second one if we want it to fit. There are no longer 88 in the bag. There are now 87. And because she's already picked one that has fitted in, there's not 62 that will fit anymore. There's now 61. And for the third one, there'll be 86 left in the bag and only 60 of them will fit. And for the fourth one, because we want them all to fit, there are now only 85 in the bag and only 59 of them are going to be ones that would fit. So I'm just going to very quickly do this on my calculator. 62, 61, 60 and 59 divided by 88, 87, 86 and 85. I'll give it to 3 significant figures. This is 0.239 to 3 significant figures, okay? So a bit of a tricky sort of probability type question here. And then we have part E, part 1 and part 2. It says the weights, W grams of the logs in the bag are coded using this. So we're not talking about the lengths anymore. This question was about length. So we're now talking about something completely different. It's the weights. And they are coded using this thing, and they are summarized with these statistics. So we've still got the 88 logs, but we've got the sum of y and the sum of y squared. We're going to find the mean of W and the variance of W. We're just kind of thinking a little bit about coding that we've got here. If I talk about this part, if I found out what y bar is, the relationship is exactly the same with the coding for the mean, okay? For the variance, I'm going to talk about the standard deviation. The standard deviation of y will be 0.5 times the standard deviation of W, but you don't subtract the 255 because standard deviation is not affected by anything being added or subtracted. So if I was going to do the variance, well, this is being squared. This part is squared for the variance, and we also have to do the 0.5 squared, and 0.5 squared is 0.25. So the ones that I'm going to be using in this question will be this fact, and then this fact, okay? So let's begin by just doing part E, part 1 of this question. So E, part 1, I'm going to find the mean of y. That means you're going to add up all the y values and divide it by how many there are. There are 88 logs, and the sum of y that's written here is 924. So it's 924. 924 divided by 88, that is 10.5. So we now just said that the mean of y is 0.5, the mean of w, this is the bit in pink, minus 255. So I can undo this coding by substituting in that the mean of y is 10.5. There's my 0.5, this minus 255. So I'm going to do the 10.5 plus 255 divided by 0.5, and we get that the mean of w is 531. Do we need to give any units for this? No, it's fine, but it is grams. So the mean of w is 531 grams. Now for part 2, I'm going to find the standard deviation of y, and then I will use that to find the standard deviation or the variance of this part. So yeah, let's just go straight in with the variance, okay? We don't need to do this. We'll say that the standard deviation typically for y, you do the square root of the mean of the squares minus the square of the means. But because I'm going to do the variance, I'm just going to ignore the square rooting. So it will be the mean of the squares, so that's the square values summed minus divided by n, minus the square of the mean, and we've already worked that out. So the sum of y squared over n, the sum of y squared is 12,862. 12,862 divided by 88, minus the 10.5 squared, because we worked out that y bar over here was 10.5. So it's 12862 divided by 88, minus 10.5 squared, and we get that this is 395 over 11. So this is the variance of y. And we said that the relationship is that the variance of y is 0.25 the variance of w, because the standard deviation is unaffected by this, and the variance is this equation all squared. Hence we go from a 0.5 to a 0.25, because 0.5 squared is 0.25. So all that's left to do is to substitute in, so it's the 395 over 11. I'll divide it by the 0.25, or times it by 4, to get the variance of w. So times that by 4, or divide it by 0.25, and I get that the variance of w is 143.63 recurring, but I'm going to just do it to 3 significant figures, so that's 144 to 3 significant figures. So it's just a quick bit of a reminder that the standard deviation and the variance are not affected by adding and subtracting. Standard deviation is affected by the same scaling, but the variance by that same scaling squared. Let's see if we got this all right. So we did have the 2.5 and the 5.6 for the histogram. We have any answers which round to 23.6, AWRT answers which round to. We did this kind of thing here to show that it was 62. We do have the 0.239 for the probability. The mean is 531, and answers which round to 144 for this last part here. So that was week 3 for this. If you want to have a little preview of what the next one is, and you can try it and then check that you've got it right next week, it is this particular question. I'm not going to tell you what the topic is. That will be part of what I want you to do by reading through this. Okay, guys, good luck, and I'll see you next week. I'm back with 3 reminders. 1, it's always a good idea to attempt the question yourself before you watch me go through it. 2, this video series is not intended as a replacement for your revision, but in addition to it. And number 3, if you do like the way that I teach or explain things, I do run some paid-for classes, and you can find out more information about that linked in the description.